Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Sumana Kutoni and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada. Election day in Ontario has arrived. Elections Ontario confirms technical issues, some polling station change as voters cast ballots. Ford widens lead, gap narrows between Liberals and NDP in final poll. Elections Ontario fixes problem that saw parties getting no voter information. Bank of Canada could hike interest rates past 3% in bid to bridle inflation. Ontario gas prices expected to jump to unprecedented high this weekend. Queen to miss Platinum Jubilee event on Friday. Check back here for results as Ontario voters head to the polls to elect a new government. So those were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details. It's officially election day in Ontario. After a month of handshaking announcement and rallies, Ontario residents will be given the opportunity to vote for their next provincial government today. Polls will be open across the province between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Voters must bring a form of their official identification along with their registration card with them to their assigned polling station. Residents are encouraged to give themselves plenty of time to vote as there is at least one riding with significant fewer polling stations than during the last provincial election. Elections Ontario confirmed there are just 29 stations in Toronto's Spadina-Fort York riding compared to the 116 locations in 2018. Polling stations were greatly reduced during the last federal election as well as due to COVID-19 protocols, causing long lineups and lot of frustration. The election map will break down all 124 of Ontario's riding and will allow the resident to search their postal code to find out who won in their area. The announcement will be made shortly after the ending of the polls, which is after 9 p.m. Elections Ontario says it's aware of technical issues reported at some polling stations, but it's unclear how many stations are facing system problems or when they might be resolved. In Ottawa, Vanier, where Rachel Crett is the returning election officer, she says several polling stations had to convert to paper ballots. She said she believes the technical issues are happening province-wide. Regardless, Crett said everything should go smoothly all the same. Elections Ontario has released minimal information about the issues. Around 10 a.m., it said it was aware of the reported issues and was working on a solution. Doug Ford appears to have widened his lead over the Liberals to the widest point in campaign, a new poll suggests as voters head to the polls today. The Ford PCs have 38.8% support among decided voters, according to a new poll conducted between Sunday and Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Liberals have 26.3% support and the NDP have 24.7% support. The latest results suggest the Liberals are continuing to lose support, down about 4% from polls conducted as early as May 8th. Meanwhile, the Ontario NDP appear to be swinging upward, up about 5% from an earlier Nanos poll released on May 17th. The Greens appear to be falling slightly from high of 7.3% recorded after leader Mike Schreiner's primetime debate performance, now standing at 6.1% among decided voters. Two upstart parties on the political right, the Ontario Party and the New Blue Party, are at about 2% support each. The last Nanos poll of the election campaign shows Ford remained the top choice among all the age bands from 18 to 34s to those 55 and up, with his lead over his closest rival ranging from 13 to 20 points. Ford maintains a 16% lead over his closest rival inside the GTA and a 14% lead among voters outside the GTA. Nanos found about 8.4% of their respondents are still unsure of who to vote for. The poll was conducted on May 29th to 31st using random sampling of 500 adult landline, cell phone, and internet subscriber. Its margin of error is 4.4%, 19 times out of 20. Elections Ontario says it has fixed a problem that saw no voter information data flowing to the political parties for much of today morning after polls opened. The issue did not affect polling stations for voters, but rather the information that flows to the parties to let them know who has or who has not voted, which is known as strike-off data. The data is used by the parties to figure out who they need to try to get out to the polling station. The connectivity issue has been resolved and strike-off data is now being updated automatically, says the Elections Ontario spokesperson Nicole Taylor. Elections Ontario worked diligently with our telecommunication provider to resolve this issue promptly. Several parties told the Canadian press they received one update this morning, but there were supposed to be batches of voters' information sent automatically every 15 minutes. The Bank of Canada may need to raise its key interest rate to 3% or beyond, more than double its current level to ensure inflation doesn't settle in for the long haul, its deputy governor says. In an earlier speech to the Gatineau Chamber of Commerce, he said the likelihood of even higher consumer prices on the horizon means the central bank will consider pushing its policy rate at least to the top of the end of its neutral range between 2 and 3%, which neither spurs nor hampers growth. The rate has sat below 2% since 2008, driven down by the housing crash that kicked off the Great Recession. Gas prices in Ontario are about to hit another unprecedented high this weekend, one expert says. Across most of the province, prices are expected to hit $2.10 to $2.11 per liter on Saturday, said Dan McTeague, the president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. Gas prices have been rising significantly for months due to supply shortages, heavily fueled by sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. McTeague said summertime demand is making the situation worse in Ontario as people venture outdoor in the warm weather. Depending on the outcome of the provincial election on Thursday, various parties have made promises to target the rising tax prices. Buckingham Palace says Queen Elizabeth will not attend a church service to mark her Platinum Jubilee after experiencing discomfort at events today. The palace says with the great reluctance, the 96-year-old monarch has decided to skip Friday's service at St. Paul's Cathedral. The palace says the Queen greatly enjoyed today's birthday parade and flypast by the Royal Air Force, but did experience some discomfort. Britain is marking the monarch's 70 years on the throne with 4 days of event. Ontario voters are heading to the polls today to elect a new government after a mostly humdrum campaign dominated by affordability issues. Voting stations across the province are set to close at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A total of 124 seats are up for grab, with 63 needed for a majority at Queen's Park. This story will be updated with all the latest development as the evening unfolds. Be sure to check back for major election calls from Awaz News Decision Desk. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Simona Kutoni, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night and take care.